They take down our stream again for being
They're in the ceilings.
Overhyped.
They're in the ceilings.
They're everywhere. What?
Everything's great here.
Perfectly fine now. Everything's fine. We're good.
It's fine.
Okay.
What are we looking at?
Marco.
That's a great
well,
question.
nothing currently because Tony hasn't brought that back on the
I
stream,
know,
but it's
that was
fine.
casual.
So I believe that we lost the stream right as Marco was discussing the sculpts.
Yeah, before.
Run us through that one more time.
Like I was saying before, I was canceled on our regular scheduled program.
There's
You
no
were
gong this time.
Yeah.
I was gonged.
The gong was the warning shot.
No, these were a successor to our practice with Grogu and making small-scale miniatures at this level of detail, because they're just so small that we're trying to get it more stylized so we can make it easier for people to really shine with their abilities to paint all the different diverse fur colors and patterns that the Ewoks have, and showcase like all the variants and differences as well as that we provide the options of both the spears and also the slings that you can see on the screen there.
Yep. So the unit that you're going to get, the Ewok warrior unit, can make either the melee Ewoks or it can make the ranged Ewoks. So spears or slings. There are a couple different heavy options in the kit. Well, there's two.
There's definitely, yeah.
There's one heavy and one specialist, which is the trapper and the big old
The honking axe guy.
axe Ewok, you know.
You
Hit you with his
watch out for
stone
that axe.
It's
That axe
it's
is
impressive.
not messing around.
It's impressive. And then we have a couple of Ewok characters. We have Wicket and Logray. And this is our Logray. Look at him in all his beauty coming out. And we're going to talk a bit more about Wicket and the Ewoks in general. So why don't you take us through kind of the whole like analyzation, everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
Important to note that these will be coming out in like late Q2 next year, probably around the 40th anniversary of a very famous movie called Return of the Jedi.
I've never heard of it.
Never heard
we got
of it.
lucky.
Small
We got lucky.
indie.
Yeah.
It's better to be lucky than good. That's how it works.
Is true.
So you do have some time to wait. We're not going to be showing any specific cards, but we did want to kind of dive in, talk more about the dev and design, what to expect from the units, kind of what to expect from the battle force.
So there's a battle force.
There's a battle force.
That's step one.
Obviously.
It's a rebel battle force.
Yes.
So you'll be playing rebels with your Ewoks. You can also, their Ewoks are mercenaries, so they can also go into normal rebel lists. The battle force. Where do you want to start? You want to start with battle force?
Look, I think the first thing to talk mercenaries. So
Mercenaries, yes.
I think this is really important. We've talked about this a couple of times, especially with Shadow Collective. Mercenaries and having that in Legion has unlocked so much potential for the game and where we can go, because in the past, the idea that the rebels would ship Ewoks off of Endor to fight in battles that they were never at breaks the whole.
So much. It breaks.
It breaks the authenticity. One of the things that we talk about a lot with LFL is authenticity. Legion is not meant to be a reenactment necessarily. It has a lot of player choice and decision making, and you get to create your own lists, and you kind of get to tell your what if stories. But there's an authentic nature to Star Wars, and our responsibility as stewards to it. That means that we have to have ways in which players can play canonically and play reenactment if they want, but also that, you know, the sandbox is really big, but there are borders to the sandbox. And having the mercenary ability to do things like Ewoks, where if you want to play the what if they had shipped off the Ewoks as like auxiliary troops, you can do that, but it's within it's a very small box, but it's within a certain like scripture of the game. So you're not going to see Luke Skywalker leading an entire army of Ewoks in his commander guides, because that's not what happened. If you want to play a lot of Ewoks, you're going to be looking at the Battle Force, which gives you the tools to make a more thematic and canonical Return of the Jedi Endor battle. Or you can do the what if and take them as mercenaries and mix some into your army, but you're going to have more limitations and restrictions. And this, again, has really opened the door for a lot of things that we see in Star Wars that are super cool, but don't necessarily fit perfectly into this would be everywhere in the faction. So that's kind of the mercenary angle. So go ahead and let's talk about the battle force now and play styles of Ewoks, you know, all the stuff. All the stuff.
Ewoks are very small.
They're very small.
Very small. And they come in large groups. So your Ewok units are going to be very large. They're not going to be the normal like 4 to 5 man units. And you get a lot of them. So the battle force lets you take a bunch of Ewoks of all sorts of different ranks and stuff. It also has some rebel troopers that you have to take because that's the battle that we're talking about.
Specifically,
here.
the rebel commandos are featured
Correct,
pretty
yes.
heavily in it.
Yeah, I guess troopers is a specific unit, but rebels will be there. And then the Battle Force also gives you the option to sort of take all of the main characters that were at the Battle of Endor as well. So you can kind of play this like very heavy operative list, or you can play this very Ewok-focused list of a pile of Ewok.
Just a pile
An
of
endless
Ewoks.
tide of Ewoks.
It's the official term.
Yes, the unit size is pile. It just says that on the card, very small. But yeah, so the Ewoks are a very melee-centric army, right? We're not seeing a ton of ranged fighting out of the Ewoks here. They have slings, they have bows and arrows, they have very primitive ranged weapons. So you're going to have your unit of spear Ewoks. They're your close combat unit. They poke things. That's what spears do. You could throw it, I guess. Ewoks haven't figured that one out yet. And then you have your range units. So there's 2 different units of Ewoks that come inside the one box, as Shik explained. And then you get all sorts of different attachments and stuff. So you get your Axe Ewok, you get your Trapper Ewoks. And those really change how the units function. The Trapper Ewoks will give you traps.
Like log traps?
Like log traps.
Like log traps.
Yes, so there are log traps. And then you also get sort of these characters, and these characters are really important for leading the Ewoks because Ewoks aren't great with morale. We see them running around all the time being like, ah, there's explosions. So the Ewok Battle Force has some interesting rules around how suppression works for the Ewoks, how it affects them sort of more than normal armies, and stuff, and these characters really help them deal with that.
Yeah, they're not an organized military force, right?
They are Yub-Nub.
They're Yub-Nub.
Yeah.
Guerrilla
So
Yub-Nub.
the idea, you think about those iconic scenes, right? And when they have the upper hand, it's going very well. The second that things start to turn against them, self-preservation kicks in. They're still kind of they have that wild animal instinct of like, well, I'm not really fighting for anything. Like they're not thinking about imperial galactic domination. They're thinking about I want to survive.
Or are they?
Or are they? And there's a bigger plan afoot. They are an extremely potent anti-infantry army.
Yes.
In terms of their ability to get in position. They have a lot of tricks when it comes to moving through terrain well, setting up ambushes, using traps. Of course, if you've watched the movie, spoiler alert, the one thing they're not good at, taking down heavy armor.
Yep. So that's sort of one of the weaknesses of this battle force is that it's not great at destroying vehicles unless you take very specific things that are very expensive in points. Tony, I believe we have an art piece to show. Yeah, that's the one. So
if you ever wanted to own an ATST, but you only played Rebels, the Ewok Battle Force is your chance.
now's the time.
Now's the time.
Now's the time.
It is. This is the point where we talk again about things that Preston hides and sneaks into art. I don't know if we have the full one, but if you just zoom in real close on your computer, because that's where you're watching this, you will be able to see those adorable little Ewoks
And
in
the
there.
windows there.
And the
Yeah.
windows.
They're driving. They're driving. They're pulling levers. They're figuring it out.
They're figuring it out.
They're quick learners. Quick learners.
Quick learners. It's
Quick
written on the
learners.
card. It's not written on the card. Yeah, so one of the things that's really cool about the Ewok Battle Force is you're going to get a couple new unit cards in there that take currently existing miniatures or units and gives you new ways to play with them.
Cool.
And specifically, it is the moment where the Ewoks and Chewbacca commandeer an ATST,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and you get to drive it around and blow things up.
You know, I never thought we would make an ATST with incognito, but
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, he's not very incognito in that art, I guess. But
That's after they've spoiled it. You know? That's
the
after they
surprise,
spoiled
the surprise has been sprung.
This unit also gives inspiring.
It does.
I would be inspired.
Is a huge, which is like Pagani you were talking about, one of the units that can help you kind of mitigate one of the weaknesses of the Ewoks, which is their vulnerability suppression, and their likelihood that they're going to lose actions and panic much quicker than some normal troops. But overall, it takes a very cunning play strategy to get the most out of Ewoks. If you run them into a gun line, it's not going to go well for you. If you use the terrain to your advantage and use the innate skills and tactics of the Ewoks, you're going to have a very good time once you get in there. You're going to Yub-Nub your way to victory.
I do have a question, Shake. If your armor is fur that is flammable and you're being shot with lasers, how do you think that works out?
Probably not well. I mean,
not
I saw a
the
lot.
best.
I saw a lot of them just not make it.
Poor little guys.
Pour one out to my Yub-Nub buddies.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about in terms of the Ewoks in general? Logray might be nice to talk a little bit about his role in the army.
Sure.
He's very much a support piece.
Yeah, I guess the Ewok characters that are not wicked, right, are very support-oriented. They're going to help out their troops. They're going to help out with suppression. They're going to help out with tokens. They're going to give Ewoks things to help them get there, right? One of the sort of downfalls of melee armies in large-scale combat games is they don't always get there. And if you can't poke them with your stick, you can't win the game. So those will help them kind of poke.
Move forward and get through. And there's some really fun command cards.
The command cards are wacky. Oh,
Secret Ingredients is a great one.
Secret Ingredients is great. My favorite of all of the upgrade cards that were designed for Ewoks is Insatiable Curiosity, which allows Ewok units to steal heavy weapon upgrades from other units and destroy them.
Nub your way to victory.
That's
Yep,
right.
nub it right to
right.
victory.
That's how you do it.
So, because, you see the Ewok jump on the speeder and zoom off.
Little
and stuff,
pop blue
and they're
goes zipping off.
zipping off, and they got to tinker. They
Now-
got to tinker.
So lots of great Ewok stuff is coming. There's going to be a lot more information. We're going to be spoiling unit cards and command cards and all this stuff as we get closer to their release. But what would the Ewoks be without a protagonist to fight against? And that, of course, is Tempest Force, which is the Imperial force that's garrisoned on Endor. And that will be a brand new battle force for the Imperials as well. It will allow you to create a very scout-centric themed army, similar to the one that we see during those battles. So if you like scout troopers, you like speeder bikes, it's going to be kind of like ATSTs. It's going to be great. And if you want to reenact your own Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary Battle of Endor on your Legion tabletop, these two battle forces are going to be a great way for you to be able to do that and kind of play within the themes that were present in those battles. The Imperial one also introduces a brand new ATST character to go against the Chewbacca character as well. Who was one of the commanders.
A lot of ATSTs.
So many ATSTs. So many ATSTs. Because they're cool, and that's what you see at the battles. But yeah, so it's going to be a really fun and thematic release. Really excited to bring Ewoks in. Like we talked about with Shadow Collective, now Ewoks, there's so much more in store for the future in terms of kind of these little mini factions that are supported through battle forces and also update and increase the scope and options for main factions. It's been a really great time to be in Legion development and to be looking at these things. And we couldn't be more excited for the things that are coming next, post Ewoks, because there's just so much content.
There's so much. I am going to make an announcement about San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, please do.
Okay, so San Diego Comic-Con next week. Schick, Dallas, and I do have a panel about Legion. It will be on Friday, July 22nd at 3 p.m. in room 7AB. Join us. It's the Lucasfilm room. They'll be talking about all sorts of Star Wars stuff all day, and we will be there from 3 to 4 talking about Legion.
More Legion.
And that's in California, so it's
That is-
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time. Correct. And cool. We would love to see you there.
Yeah, so with that, I think we're pretty much wrapped up with everything that we have on our white sheets. There's plenty more.
nothing on there.
I looked up my secret thing that I
empty.
forgot, so we're
Yeah.
ready now.
So there you go. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us for this panel. Thank you for bearing with us as our internet decided to just go away for a short break. It went on coffee break. It's unionized. It's fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
It gets its 15 minutes like everyone else. Be sure to tune into the next one. We're going to be painting Din Djarin and talking about how to approach that cool miniature and just hanging out, putting some paint on.
Yep.
Later on, we've got an X-Wing panel where we're going to be talking about all the X-Wing stuff. We have an
Ew.
X-Wing game, which Simone Elliott is going to promise not to make Plumber cry on stream as she bullies him again.
I did not promise
Oh,
that.
well.
That was not a promise.
That was not a
might
promise. It was a
pretend.
threat.
There's a threat. And
would
so much more
never.
content coming to you. We're going to be having a Legion game where we're going to be showing a lot of the stuff that we just previewed from the Mandalorian wave on the tabletop. So if you want to see Old Man Boba, you want to see Din Djarin and Grogu, you want to see IG-88 all in action, that's going to be happening tomorrow during the Legion gameplay stream. So tons more to come. Thank you for joining us. Till the next one in like 10 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Even less time.
Bye. Goodbye.